Welcome to biology class. Today in this class we are going to discuss in detail about the classification of Bryophyta. Bryophyta is the second division of plant kingdom, which is further divided into three important classes. One is Hepaticopsida, second one Anthoceratopsida, third one Bryopsida. These Hepaticopsida, they are commonly called as liver rods because the members of this Hepaticopsida, they are dichotomously branching and looks like a liver lobes. And also some of these members, they are used as treatment purpose, means for liver treatment. Hence they are called liver rods. And the second one is Anthoceratopsida called horn rods. The sporophyte of these Anthoceratopsida, they are horn shaped. You may get some doubts like, sir, what is sporophyte? The diploid, that structure called sporophyte, the haploid plant body which reproduce diploid structure called sporophyte. That sporophyte of Anthoceratopsida, it will be horn shaped, hence we used to call it as horn rods. The third important class is Bryopsida. These the new members of Bryophytes that belongs to Bryopsida. The new members of the Bryophytes are commonly called as mosses. And example for Hepaticopsida, there are two, namely Markantia, Rixia. There are many, but in our curriculum they mentioned only two. And example for Anthoceratopsida is Anthoceros. And example for this Bryopsida is Funaria, Sphagnum and Polytrichum. They are the three important ones. Among these three different classes in a PUC in NCERT curriculum, they mentioned only regarding this Hepaticopsida and Bryopsida, where Anthoceratopsida is not included in our curriculum. So no need to study this Anthoceratopsida. We have to study in detail regarding Hepaticopsida as well as Bryopsida. So let us look towards in detail regarding this Hepaticopsida and Bryopsida. As we look towards this class Hepaticopsida. This class Hepaticopsida, in that we can observe some examples. The examples like Markantia and Rixia. They are the ones. And where Markantia and Rixia, so basically when we are going to consider only one example, that what Markantia or Rixia, this is what the plant body generally, when we look towards the plant body which is thallus, means plant body cannot be differentiated into root, stem and leaves. So that is what thalloid plant body, and this is what the plant body which shows dichotomously branching. See, two branches. This is what we used to call it as dichotomous branching. The plant body which shows a dichotomously branching, and in the both on dorsal and ventral side which is having a mid-median line, or we used to call it as midrib, and which is prominent both on upper surface called dorsal surface and the lower surface called ventral surface, and the plant body is the dorsi-ventrally flattened. See, when we look towards, this is an example. See, this is Markantia, just in diagrammatic view. This is what the dorsal surface and this is the ventral surface. Like, see, it appears like a leaf where both dorsally and ventrally, means upper side and lower side, which is flattened structure. This is the plant body. That what dorsi-ventrally flattened. This is what just an where heart. That what I am using. So this is dorsi-ventrally flattened. That what the plant body, and it looks like a leaf-like structure. And in the center we can find the presence of that mid-median line. Mid-median line will be there. And where on the upper surface on the midrib, it produces a specialized multicellular specialized structures. These specialized structures are called gemma cups. They also involved in reproduction, vegetative reproduction. And see, upper surface which is green and photosynthetic. where the lower surface, which is not so much of green, and upper surface is green, which meant for photosynthesis to prepare food material, where the lower surface, which is not so much of green and which is meant for storage of reserve food material, which is meant for the storage of reserve food material. See, on the upper surface, dorsal side, that what the midrib like structure, and that there is the formation of Gemma cups, whereas towards the lower surface, on the mid surface or mid median line, it produces rhizoids. By the help of these rhizoids only, the plant body which attaches to soil or to the any substratum, that attaches to substratum by the help of these rhizoids. That is what we used to call it as plant body is thallus. It means that it cannot be differentiated into root, stem and leaves. And plant body is dorsiventrally flattened. It is dorsiventrally flattened. Upper green photosynthetic, lower non-photosynthetic, and meant for storage of food material. And we can find some of that important where nature, like on upper surface, which is having Gemma cups. So we can find the presence of Gemma cups on the upper surface. So see, when we think of the plant body, yes, the plant body is thallus. It cannot be differentiated into root, stem and leaves. And plant body which is dorsiventrally flattened, upper surface which is photosynthetic, and the lower surface which meant for the storage of food material. And both on the upper surface as well as in the lower surface, both on upper and lower surface, which is having a prominent midrib like structure. On the upper surface, which shows the presence of these what we call as Gemma cups, and in the lower surface, which produces rhizoids. By the help of rhizoids, it helps in attachment of the plant body to the substratum. And these Gemma cups, they are special, very special. They helps in vegetative reproduction. They meant for vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction is also done by fragmentation. If the plant body is divided into many fragments, each fragment have the ability to develop into new plant body. And when we look towards this, see the plant body, they are what we called rhizoids. They are Gemma cups. These are Gemma cups. See that point like structure which present between the two lobes, this is called apical notch. From this apical notch only, there will be development of male and female reproductive structures. And basically, when we think of male and female reproductive structure, these Hepaticopsida, or this is what the Markantia, which is sexually dimorphic or dioecious plant. It means that male thallus and female thallus, the plant body is thallus. Thallus means plant body. Male plant is different and female plant is different. That is what we call as a dioecious or sexually dimorphic. Means two are there. Male is different and female is different. We call that as a sexually dimorphic or a dioecious plant. That what male reproductive structure called antheridia and female reproductive structure called archegonia. As we move towards reproduction, there are two types of reproduction, namely asexual reproduction as well as sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is by fragmentation, means each fragment that develop into new plant body, and by using Gemma cups. See, these are the Gemma cups, or we can find here these Gemma cups. They are green asexual buds that formed or origin at the midrib region towards the dorsal surface. And the Gemma cups having a specialized structure called gemme. And these gemme, they fall on the suitable media and develops into new plant body. This is what asexual reproduction, which is done by fragmentation and by using Gemma cups. These Gemma cups, they are the small green asexual buds having a specialized structure called gemme. They will be having gemme. Gemme are the specialized structure which present in the Gemma cups that develops into new plant body. As we move towards sexual reproduction. The plant body, it will be having gemma cups, as well as they are the asexually reproductive structures, and the plant body which shows the presence of the male reproductive structure called antheridia and female reproductive structure called archegonia. As we think male reproductive structure, see, if you think this is the male thallus or male plant body, if this is the male thallus, male plant body, see, from the apical notch, this is the apical notch. From apical notch, there is a formation of a receptacle or the stalk of the reproductive structure. The stalk is called pore. We used to call it as pore. And from that, there will be formation of, that is antheridia. This is the antheridia. See, this is the structure called antheridia. Antheridia, and this is called antheridiophore. Why it is called antheridiophore? Pore means stalk to the antheridia, so the name called antheridiophore. Antheridia is the male reproductive structure which produces male gamete. The male gamete is called biflagellated anthrozoids. The male gametes are called biflagellated anthrozoids. And this is the female thallus. This is female thallus. That what previously I told. Plant body is sexually dimorphic or dioecious. And this is the apical notch. From the apical notch, there is a formation of stalk called pore. And this is the fore for the formation of archegonia. See, this is called archegonia, and this is a structure called archegoniophore. And this archegoniophore which produces ova. In animals we call it as ova. Here in plants we used to call it as egg. See, it produces egg. This is what the female gamete. So male gamete is a biflagellated anthrozoid and female gamete is called egg. Egg is formed in archegonia and where anthrozoids that are formed in the antheridia. Now, when they forms these anthrozoids, they release out of the antheridia and they swim in the water. They move towards the egg and it fuses with the egg. That leads to formation of zygote. The process is called fertilization. We call it as fertilization. Yes, the plant body, that what we called dioecious plant body. Yes, the plant body is dioecious. The plant body is dioecious, or we can call it unisexual plants. So in that dioecious, see, what is the dioecious? It means that male and female thallus is separate. Male and female thallus is separate. That what male reproductive structures called antheridia. The male reproductive structures called antheridia. These antheridia which produces biflagellated anthrozoids. The male reproductive structure which is antheridia, it produces biflagellated anthrozoids. These biflagellated anthrozoids are the male gamete. In the same way, female reproductive structure called archegonia. It produces egg. So anthrozoids, they are called male gametes and egg is called a female gamete. This is what male gamete and this is called female gamete. See what happens now. Male gamete move towards female gamete by the help of water, hence we call it as amphibians of land kingdom. That's what female gamete in water media and fuse together is called fertilization. This is called fertilization. That common things after fertilization, that what the zygote undergo meiosis. What the product of fertilization is the zygote. After fertilization, zygote produces diploid sporophyte. After that, it produces diploid sporophyte, which is a special one. The diploid sporophyte is a special one. So where the diploid sporophyte, it is differentiated into three important components. See, sporophyte is having three important structures. One is a foot, and second one is seta, and third one is capsule. Foot, seta and capsule. And foot is the basic structure, seta is the middle structure, capsule is the terminal end. The capsule having spores, that what the sporophyte. Now see, sporophyte contain spore mother cells, SMC. So previous in salient features I mentioned regarding this. SMC means spore mother cells. Spore mother cells are called SMC. Undergo meiosis to form haploid spores. And when these haploid spores fall on suitable media, it produces haploid plant body. Yes, this is what regarding that Hepaticopsida. This fertilization, sexual reproduction, which is same. Well, what we have discussed in the general characters or salient features, this is also same, that also same. And next what we are going to understand and what we are going to study, that Bryopsida, in that also same. So this is what we call as Hepaticopsida. Next we are going to look towards the second one. The second class is called Bryopsida. We call it as masses. Yes, the next one, class Bryopsida. This class Bryopsida, it includes, that is what this includes. It includes advanced bryophytes. Advanced bryophytes are called mosses. Here also, in this Bryopsida also, plant body is thallus only, but we can't name that as dorsi-ventrally flattened. We are not supposed to call that as dorsi-ventrally flattened because here the plant body which is erect, vertical, it shows root-like structures, leaf-like structures, stem-like structure, but there is no true stem, there is no true roots, there is no true leaves. That's what the special thing what we have to observe here. That's what the plant body is thallus only. Moreover, all bryophytes are avascular. They don't have vascular bundles. Like xylem and phloem are completely absent. That is what avascular plants. And basically, the gametophyte plant body. This is what the plant body is said to be. The gametophyte plant body, which is divided into two stages. What are the two stages here? Very first one here, that two stages includes the first one, protonema, and the second one is the leafy stage. Here we have to remember the two important one. Keep remember what is protonema and what is leafy stage. See this protonema, so which is directly developed from the haploid spores. ನಾವಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ವಿ ಸ್ಪೋರೋಫೈಟ್, ಎಮ್ಡೋಫೈಟ್ ಅಂತ, ಮಿಯಾಸಿಸ್ ಆದಾಗ ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಹೌದು, that what protonema that formed from haploid spores, when the haploid spores that fall on suitable media that develops into new plant body, that what gametophyte. Yes, that is the one. Especially in Bryopsida we can find. In Hepaticopsida we don't have this protonema and the leafy stage. This protonema which is directly developed from haploid spores, and this protonema which is creeping on the soil surface, which is green in color and also branched, which shows a filament like structure. So that is what the special thing. And protonema is having two types, like a primary protonema and secondary protonema. And from this secondary protonema only there is a formation of leafy stage. The leafy stage is the secondary one which forms from secondary protonema. That what the secondary protonema which produces a leafy stage. The leafy stage is vertical, erect, and we can call that as upright, slender, and the main axis which shows the presence of leaves around the main axis. That is what we call as leafy stage. So when we think of plant body, the plant body is not differentiated into root, stem and leaves. Yes, when we think of the protonema and the leafy stage, protonema is the first stage of the gametophyte, and which is directly developed from haploid spores, and which is generally creeping, green, branched, filamentous, means branched filamentous like structure, or generally we can imagine like an hyphae of fungi, and but which is green in color. See that protonema, it is of two types, like a primary protonema and secondary protonema. The primary protonema which develops into secondary protonema, and that secondary protonema which produces lateral buds towards lateral side, that lateral buds only which forms a leafy stage. So this leafy stage is the second stage of the gametophyte, where protonema is the first stage of the gametophyte. That leafy stage that formed from secondary protonema, as a lateral bud, and this secondary protonema that develops into that what lateral bud, and lateral bud that develops into leafy stage, and this leafy stage which is upright, vertical, upright. So this is what upright, slender, and which shows the presence of main axis. And this main axis bears spirally arranged leaf-like structures. The spirally arranged leaf-like structures are called pilides. So in that above diagram we can observe, so like the presence of spirally arranged leaves and a plant body that attaches to soil by the help of multicellular root-like structures are called rhizoids. Where Protonema, it will not produce any reproductive structures, but the leafy stage which produces the reproductive structures are sex organs. That is what the male reproductive structure called antheridia and the female reproductive structure called archegonia. Antheridia produces anthrozoids, archegonia produces egg, which is same. Sexual reproduction will be same. And secondary protonema only which produces buds. So that buds, from that there is a formation of asexual reproduction. So next we are moving towards reproduction. The reproduction, there are two types of reproductions, namely one is vegetative reproduction and second one is sexual reproduction. Vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation, each fragment that develops into new plant body, and budding is a special one. Budding that can be seen by the formation of outgrowths from the protonema, means lateral buds that develops into leafy stage. Yes, that's good. But other buds that develops into new plant body which comes under vegetative propagation or vegetative reproduction. Where the sexual reproduction, see, this is what the plant body we call as funaria, which is having gametophytic plant body. The plant body is differentiated into root-like structures called rhizoids, through which there is attachment of plant body to the substratum or to the soil. And it is having main axis, means stem-like structure called colloid. And stem-like structure or axis is surrounded by a leaf-like structures called pilides. And it will be having male branch and female branch. The male branch produces antheridia, female branch produces archegonia, and antheridia produces biflagellated anthrozoids. Archegonia produces ova, and by the help of water, male gamete fuses with the female gamete that leads to formation of that what sporophyte. The zygote develops into sporophyte. The sporophyte is differentiated into foot, seta, and capsule. See, foot is the structure. Foot is the first part of the sporophyte where it attaches to the gametophytic plant body to get nourishment. And this is the seta then followed by capsule, and capsule having spore mother cells, it undergo meiosis which produces haploid spores. Their haploid spores fall on suitable media, again it gives rise to gametophyte. Gametophyte gives rise to sporophyte and sporophyte gives rise to gametophyte. This is called alternation of generation.